Zoom in.
This is video 170. If you've never watched our videos before, we're adopting two little girls from Liberia. This guy doesn't have arms yet or a tail, but this is the closest I've gotten to the picture, my kids say.
Looks really good.
Yep. We don't know his name yet. I can't name him until I finish him, because...
Sup, monkey?
Yeah.
Is he a punch monkey?
He's not. Stop saying that. We're not going to punch him. He doesn't even have arms.
No, that's how the punch monkeys communicate.
Doesn't matter. This is not his life.
We've seen the Crudes.
He's a sweet monkey.
Or whatever it's called.
The Crudes, yeah. So, this is what I've been doing with my time since I'm so bored. The girls will be working their schoolwork, and I'll be making a monkey. I think this is my 12th animal to make.
You do that while I just contemplate my mortality.
Arriving to Liberia in February. I've gotten faster at it though. Alright, so we'll just put him right here.
Way to go, buddy.
Also, we got to hang out with the Hadelofts today.
They are nice people and fun to be around.
They gave us a bag of stuff. The Davenports did the same thing. I hope we don't have to see tons of families come and go and us still stay. That would be sad, but it was nice to hang out with the Hadelofts because they're really fun and they understand our life. Kate lived here for 3 months with her daughter before finally surrendering to the Eustace people and taking her back to the orphanage and then having to come back. So let's see, they adopted her in July. I think she left at the very end of September and then just came back now. So 9 months, I guess. September, October, November, December. Yeah, 9 months. And they told us that their fingerprinting was about to expire like July 1st or something. And they were like, no, Eustace, we're not giving you another $700 something. So
it was fun sharing stories with her about.
They brought us peanut butter too.
Staying here like in a long stay. Because it's different. Like, I mean, it's different. We don't live here. Like, it's not our home.
Thank you so much.
So when you come here forever, it's like a vacation that doesn't end or something. I don't know how to describe it.
And we packed for a month, but I mean, you know.
You're chowing down, huh?
So good.
So tonight's
like
menu.
Chocolate and peanut butter.
I made just plain pasta. Some people like it with butter. Some people like it with olive oil. I also made spaghetti and spaghetti noodles with actual hamburger meat and spaghetti sauce.
Pasta night.
So we found we do a lot of carb loading here. Because the process, like I try to
We hadn't lost any weight.
Try to cook chicken every other week. Well, yeah, we're not going to.
Every other day.
Just eating carbs, but I mean every other day. So it's like the process of frying a bunch of chicken in a skillet takes forever for 5 people. So I don't love to do that.
Was it last night before I went to bed? We got the extra donation. So yesterday we got $1,200 in donations.
Yes, thank you to all the people that have helped us.
Thank you so much to those 3 donors that got us to $1,200. So that it really gets us another 8 or 9 days here. $1,200 does. For us to, and that doesn't necessarily cover our like we pay our mortgage kind of in big lumps, but we're doing some math today. So when you donate to Adopt Together, it's tax deductible for you. We submit a grant request and we have to submit an adoption related expense. Usually we do one that we've already paid, so they'll just reimburse us with a check and then we'll just put that back in our account to use for the next thing. What we do for that, so we submit it and they release their checks every month. So whatever you've asked for and submitted. So we've been submitting receipts for our bill here to stay at the Tropicana, like the hotel bill here. So we used that one for a while, but we have a check. So then what happens is Adopt Together will write us a check made out to us and they'll mail it to our residents in Florida. And our wonderful neighbors, Paul and Tia Erminger, will get the check out of our mailbox and then take it to our bank. And we will call Logan at the bank and tell him that they're coming. And that, yes, it's okay for them to put money in, even if it's a large sum. Because it ends up being a pretty large sum. We're kind of adding up. So we put in a grant request May 18th. It's like $4,000 we're getting. So people have given us. So it's May 18th. They do their meetings in the middle of the month, usually the 15th of the month. Not always. Maybe between the 10th and the 18th they do it. But if you don't get approved, like you'll get the check. So there was a check that already went that we got deposited by our friends. So when we do the fill the box textile stuff, the fill the box writes a check to Adopt Together, and then Adopt Together, we can request it once it's there, and then we'll get the cash and do the whole. So it's pretty good. It takes fill the box about 45 days, sometimes a little faster. One of our checks hasn't quite gone in yet, but it's supposed to be in this week. And then anybody else that makes a donation, and matching grants too. If you wanted to sponsor us for a matching grant, you could do minimum of $500, and then every time somebody gives to us, it would be matched. So 100 turns into 200, 500 turns into 1,000. There's so that's a good thing to do. If you've got $500 laying around, you want to donate to us, using it for a matching grant would most likely generate more crowdfunding support. Because, you know, if you're going to give me $20 and see it turn into 40, that's pretty good. So I hate to be in this place of like, help me please. But like, I am in that place. So
yeah, I mean, nothing would make me happier than to go home with our intact family and get back to work and make our own way.
Well, and Kate and Jeff, they gave us this bag of stuff. So it was like a Tupperware bowl, some snacks, some dried mangoes, or apricots, I think, some edamame, dried edamame, a couple extra spatulas, a spoon, and then this clippy thing. It's like a clothes drying. It's like a hanger, but it's a circle. I'm using it right now, so I can't show you guys because I went on and just used it because I don't want to deal with the laundry room. Jeremy's gonna make me deal with the laundry room, and I don't want to because it's just I have to talk to people, and I'm not. It's just this whole thing. It's like I'm this inconvenience, and it's just this. I don't know. I just want to watch him here. So we have the whole, you know, he has the oscillating fan, and he can pee and hopefully not miss the toilet.
Yeah, watch out, fan.
So I think there's a timer on that fan because it shut off earlier. Anyway, but they gave us these little things, and it's like nice to get these little things, and I'm so happy they get to fly out tomorrow afternoon, and then they get to go on their 25-hour journey home with their 5-year-old daughter, their 5-year-old Liberian daughter, and then they have other kids that are waiting at home. A huge family. I mean, they have a lot of good support. But it's just good to talk to them about like normal stuff, like normal America stuff. You know, like we talk to adults in Liberia, they're great and everything, but we don't have a lot in common with them. And so like I was telling Jeff about how when Jeremy learned to wakeboard, how frustrating it was for me because it took me like a summer to learn. And Jeremy like popped up on the second. Now, granted, like we had like a tower and everything for him to wakeboard. If you know anything about wakeboarding, if you learn not on a tower, then that's pretty cool. But if you learn with the tower, it's a lot easier, but not that much easier. I thought we were going to go out there and be out there for the whole day. And I took him out on a day. It was just me and him. We bought a old Mastercraft Pro Star 190. So it was a nice boat. It was before we had kids. It was a 2000 model. We bought it from Mr. Willis, who took good care of it. And, it was nice and we enjoyed it, but the water was pristine. And I'm like, we're going to teach Jeremy wakeboard today. We're probably going to be here a while. It's hard to wakeboard. And on the second freaking try, he's like, am I doing it? Like, he was legitimately asking, am I doing it right? And I was like, you freaking loser. Sure you are. Second try. But it was fun, so we got to talk to them about that. I mean, it's just hard. Jeremy's just better at everything. He's just naturally good at stuff. He just picks it up. He's like, oh, I think I'll try to play the guitar. Oh, I think I'll lay some floors. Oh, I think I'll redecorate this. Oh, I think I'll fix that. Oh, there's got to be a YouTube video, and I'll just watch that and just do it. And I'm like,
would you
blows
rather
my
me
mind.
be worthless?
No, I like it that you're handy. I like how all shucks you are good at everything. But, you know, sometimes it'd be nice to be better than something at you. And you know what I'm better at? Being our accountant. That was the other thing. So we talked to them about boating stuff, and we also talked to them about, like, the financial madness that is adoption and how to, like, maximize your taxes and how, so I'm like the nerd and my spreadsheets are done. I know how much money we spend in each category of living here. I know how much money we're spending at home. I mean, there's a few things, like, sometimes I have to ask Jeremy, like, what's the actual number that we pay our mortgage? Like, I know the ballpark, but I don't know, like, down to the cent. Because he usually pushes that button. But most everything else I know down to the cent. I'm like planning on getting audited by the IRS just because our whole life's just going to look so weird when we turn it in financially. And I'm so excited about my audit that I'm like excited because if they audit you and you didn't do anything wrong, then they have to pay you interest on your tax return.
No, they'll find something, I'm sure.
No, they won't.
They're corrupt.
Well, if they don't find anything, you can bill them for the interest.
Yeah.
of like each month that they should have paid you. So
Seems
I'm
like
like,
a hassle, but I hope they don't.
I don't want to. I mean, here's the thing: I don't want to get audited, but you're 20 times more likely to be audited if you're an adoptive family. They just audit us more. So
Sounds prejudicial.
it's supposed to be random, but whatever. Random or potential criminal activity. But anyways, I was talking to them about. I'm excited. Bring it, IRS. I got my trapper keeper. I got my expense sheet. I got my
see you didn't work all
spreadsheet.
year. How did you pay for your bills? And why do you have mortgage interest to deduct with no income?
Right. Yeah.
Red flags everywhere.
It's some income this year.
Like
We
one-
usually have to pay the IRS, but maybe they'll be paying us this year. I don't know. It's hard to say.
We lived off savings.
But it was just nice to talk to like Americans that understand that. And one thing we talked about too, this I think this was a little more important, and I wish that we could do that. Do this. This would be a good thing to do. I feel like the monkey should be in the.
So lucky.
I feel like he should have a little. I feel like he's just funny sitting here with us. He should just be a part of the party. I'm sure you guys agree. The monkey should be part of the party. So, Jeff was talking about how we all know that the consular's office at the embassy, they seem to have a lack of sensitivity and understanding of not only what their job is, but we as adoptive families and what the adoptees go through. We heard that they were sent to a trafficking conference like over a year ago, and then after that it seemed like they got a lot worse at approvals. And we agree that trafficking is so wrong. We're so against trafficking. Trafficking has touched our lives in a personal way and our family in a personal way, and we're completely 100% against trafficking and battle against that in any way we can. Those efforts are largely misplaced when it comes to international adoption because traffickers aren't stupid enough to. They just can't win. Like, you can traffic a kid and they never leave their home. Most kids are trafficked in their communities. They never move away from their parents or whoever's raising them. Surprisingly, but it's true. Look it up. If you would like information on education and training, the Polaris Project has curriculum that they will give you for yourself. It's like a 45-minute certification to just be in the know. And then they have church curriculum, school curriculum, small group curriculums, community center curriculums, everything, law enforcement, teachers, anybody. They will hook you up with curriculum to teach you about this game that is trafficking, that is tearing apart our country. But traffickers are not going to look at international adoption as a way to traffic kids. It's too expensive. It's too easy to do it any other way. And there's too many people going to be poking around in their life. So it's not something they're going to do. So when they're coming after our agency and they're coming after adoptive parents and they're accusing of trafficking and baby buying and all of that. It's misplaced. The efforts need to be placed somewhere else. But what we talked about is that they may have all this education on trafficking. I don't know that they did a good job educating them on trafficking because they're so obsessed with adoptive families. And again, statistically, this is not the children that are trafficked. There are disruptions sometimes in international adoption, more often than we would like to see. Most of that has to do with education for the families. But education for the families is required, and it's upped a lot in the last 5 years because of disruptions. We have to have ongoing education about our kids, what their needs will be. I mean, tons of information you have to do. Books you have to read, online seminars, online training, in-person training. And when they do your home study, they're not just looking to see if you're growing weed in the backyard or if you have like a dog fighting ring. They're looking for you as a person. They want to talk to you. They want to see how you interact with your other children if you have them. They want to know about your marriage. They want to know about your life. They want to know about your childhood. Have you ever been to therapy? And how did that go? And why were you there? Have you ever been charged with a crime more than a speeding ticket? Have you ever been arrested? Like, they want to know things about, it's not really even about your house, although that's sort of important. It's not that. It's your personal life. In depth. Like, really peeling it in. And, so we think, and Jeff brought this up, and we were talking about, is they need training on what we go through. If they're going to be the person that signs this I-600 and decides the fate of these children, they need to understand about the trauma of separation and how once you make a connection with a caregiver, you don't need to separate that connection at all. And you need to make that connection with your permanent caregivers as early in life as possible to have a long-term successful life. So the traumatic injury that happens to these kids and your attachment early on in life to your caregivers influences everything. It influences your ability to maintain your own marriage and family one day. It influences your ability to hold a job. It influences whether or not you become a murderer or commit crimes or pay your taxes or whatever it is. Like whether or not you can show up to work on time has to do with attachment, loyalty, and commitment. And if you don't learn that your caregivers are committed to you at an early age, and you don't learn that attachment, caregiver dependence, and that how it hurts to be separate from them, but to return, like you don't get that early in life, your statistical chances of being a successful human that doesn't just cause hurt for all the other humans around you is high. So when the counselor's office decides and tells us as adoptive families who have bonded with these children, because we are expected by Liberia to take them into our care the moment that we go to court, even a couple days before. So Liberia wants us to start bonding. The only reason Liberia wants us here for 30 days is so we can understand the culture. But they even don't enforce that. If they're just glad that we came. The U.S. consular, the embassy, the consular's office, they are looking for, they have over a typo on a death certificate, or over a police investigation that completely exonerated our agency, should not be blockading kids coming home. A birth mother that's interrogated without a translator or legal representation in the U.S. Embassy office that may make a mistake about a date or a year. Only 46% of the Liberian adult population can read and write. So, when you start asking questions about, mom died in 2017 and then the kid was taken to the orphanage in 2019 after grandma realized she just can't do it. If grandma says 2016 instead of 2017 about the day that her daughter died, that she may not know which year because she can't read and write to write it down. And she doesn't speak colloquial English like we do. She speaks like a tribal language and maybe a little broken English to get by in the city. So they're separating. These are examples of things that have happened with different cases that we know about that cause children to have a year of separation after bonding with their family. And what that does to those kids is not good. If you ask any child therapist, they will say, no, don't separate them. In the U.S., we used to let babies, we used to separate moms and babies. Give the mom a break, I get that, go to the nursery. But, nowadays, you don't, you may send the baby to the nursery so you can take a nap or something if you're kind of on your own, or then you take a shower, take advantage of that 36 hours you have in the hospital. But babies are with their moms. We do skin to skin immediately. We don't separate these babies. We're pushing for breastfeeding. Several years ago, they took all the pacifiers out of the hospitals because they wanted every baby to breastfeed because they think that helps promote them being in a nurturing environment. So these are ridiculous things we do as Americans to not separate families. You would be appalled if you knew the things that a family can do and not lose their parental rights because nobody wants to separate anyone from their family of origin in the U.S. So when you separate a kid from their family of origin in Liberia, put them in institutionalized orphan care, doesn't matter if it's good or not, it's the orphanage, it is what it is. It's very Lord of the Flies. You can't replace the family. Then let them bond with the family. Then send the family away. Then let the family come back and maybe let them take it the second time. Most of these families that I'm talking to are into their third visit to Liberia. This is not what's in the best interest of these kids. So I think that every single family that has had these delays, sent to USIS, all these things, especially the family that had 5-year separation, they have a right.
Hang on, please.
What?
Hang on, please.
What do you need, baby? Huh? Come here. We'll be back. Okay, sorry. We had actual blood. Everyone's fine. So back to that whole, these families could easily sue the consular at the embassy for damages to their children.
Yeah, I'd like to add a little bit too, the undue trauma that these kids have to endure is not fair. And you think about it too, so say the consular's office, so their presupposition is that all adoption has some layer of trafficking in it. Are they going to be fair when a family comes in, or are they going to try to squash it? It's what's their attitude? for these adoptions. It's not good. They're looking for anything, it feels like.
Which I think would
because
improve.
they're more trained. So the sensitivity training or anything that is a realistic representation of adoption that would get before them and train them to be better is a great idea that you guys have.
It's almost like a victim's advocate. Like when you come into the ER, if you've been a victim of a crime, there's victim's advocate that'll come from the police. And it's not that the police don't know how to do their job, they do, but the victim's advocate comes from a separate agency to just advocate for the victim. And that's the thing, is these kids don't have, I mean, they do have advocates to some degree, but the counselor's office certainly needs training. And I think that every adoptive family, I know you guys don't have a lot of money, and I get that. But if you have a case where you could sue the embassy for wrongdoings to your child, that's unfortunately going to be probably the only way we can get their attention.
Yep.
So I hope that, I mean, every family hopes they're just going to go through. I hope that we'll go through and not have to deal with any of this. But if we do, we will definitely sue. So I hope that we're not victims of a bad system. But we could be. So last night late, we got a text from the deputy minister at the Ministry of Gender that's in charge of adoptions. There has been a countrywide ban on all adoptions, domestic and international, since mid-March. We don't know for sure, but what we heard was that the head of the Ministry of Gender made that decision to stop all adoptions because she was upset with the police for taking 5 months on our investigation and the same on the AFA investigation. So she's like, fine, nobody can adopt anybody until we fix this. So that to me was an interesting move. I don't know if it was just like her only move. It's not probably a move I would have made because I don't want to delay any kid from joining their permanent family.
Yeah, it still took
Being an
3
orphan
months
is
to work
dangerous
itself
in
out.
Liberia. But so we actually, since they the suspension on our agency is actually illegal. There was not due process. They didn't go through the right steps. So our agency can actually sue them for loss of revenue and economic hardship inflicted upon the company, because they're like in Liberia, they don't really, I mean, they're a tax-paying company. So their business here, even though they're a nonprofit in the U.S., it's not the same here for nonprofits. But regardless, it's still their business. So they can sue. So once that kind of got out, there was some talk about how much money it would cost, like how much could the MOG be sued for. And I mean, I think it's over $250,000 easy, just based on what I know. And I don't know, like attorneys and accountants could look closer. I'm sure the agency's actually lost more than that based on these. And the families, but the families have a lot, like the families that are matched have had to pay an extra 10 months of pre-adoptive care, which is our child support that we pay to the orphanage to keep our kids alive. And it's $250 a month per kid. So there's that. And we've had to pay an extra 10 months. Well, what's 10 times 500? And then what's that times 10 families? So you can see how it climbs pretty quick. But so if we can sue based on illegal suspension, then it kind of makes me want to speculate how, yeah. Can you wait 3 minutes? Can you wait 3 minutes? Okay. It makes me speculate if that number and that money didn't leak out, and then they were the legal team at the
Well, you didn't tell
ministry.
them what the text said, I don't think.
Well, the ban lifted, so they've been suspended since mid-March, and now that as of yesterday, everyone except for our agency and the other agency that was being investigated and had formal suspensions could resume business as usual. So today there were hopefully adoptions in Liberian court. However, our suspensions, although ours was illegal. I don't know about the AFA suspension, if it was illegal or not. I know that the Small World one was definitely illegal because there was no evidence. It was just all hearsay. You can open an investigation without suspending a business. But they didn't do it that way. So since we can sue, or our agency could sue them for loss of revenue, all these other agencies that have been suspended since March, domestic and international, there's one more international, and then there's several domestic. They do a lot of adoptions here. All of those agencies, even the home study agencies they have here for Liberians, all of those people can could sue for loss of revenue. So I think that memo went out quick. But our stuff has to be signed by the head of the MOG, and she was reportedly out of town. We'd heard she was out of town until like Saturday, until next week. Then we heard that she was going to be in. First, we heard she was coming back today, and then we heard she was coming back next week, and then we also heard she's coming back Wednesday or maybe Thursday, which is tomorrow or the next day. So we don't really know. We're thinking we'll know for sure where she is in the next 7 days. But I think that her legal team pushed to have that memo sent out sooner. So I guess that can be done wherever she is. But so yeah.
So let's hope for the best.
Yeah. Let's hope for the best. But if you haven't, even if you're not going to sue the U.S. Embassy or sue the MOG or anything like that, I would highly, highly recommend the other families that have squeaked out of this country in the last 2 years. You should really file your complaints. If you need help filing a complaint or knowing what website to click on or how to do it, I can help you. Or there's a couple of different adoptive moms. Amanda Kramer, she'll help you. Just guide you through the steps. If it's not hard, it'll take you 15 minutes max. It's really easy, but we have to hold. If we don't hold our government accountable, then sorry, monkey. If we don't, knocked him off his pedestal. If we don't hold our government accountable, then nobody else is going to. And our government doesn't know that anyone's not doing what they're supposed to unless we involve the judicial system. Like, they don't know. I mean, our congressman knows because we've told him. But I mean, if you haven't told them, then you're really just part. I mean, I don't want this to sound bad, but if you are an American citizen that has had a crime committed against you via adoption through the U.S. Embassy, consular's office, the MOG, the U.S. State Department, the USIS, any of those agencies, if they've wronged you in some way and you have not filed a formal complaint with that agency, you are 100% wrong. And you are making it extremely difficult for the rest of us that can't file complaints yet. Because those complaints do get logged. And the number of them matters. So if you get 1 or 2 complaints about something, you might blow it off. But if you get 30, and it's a program that only sees 50 kids come out of 50 kids coming out of Liberia a year for international adoption, but 30 of them filed complaints, that's going to get someone's attention. And it could just be not so much punitive, although punitive is kind of where I'm at, just because of the position we're in, but an opportunity for learning, an opportunity for teaching, an opportunity for us to get better. So this is funny. I don't want to tell you cry. I made the kids watch the Lorax tonight. They love the Lorax when they were little kids, but they don't love it now. But every movie we pick, they're like, wah. But we watched the Lorax tonight,
and they're like, oh yay!
But you get to read the quote.
All right.
The
Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better.
It's just not. In the movie, it's just not.
The Lorax,
read again
by Dr. Seuss.
Read again.
Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better.
It's not.
Mr. Lorax.
So, but that's like, unless you don't care a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's just not. And it's like Dr. Seuss is a genius. But it is so true. So like, I don't want to be harsh. I know which families have been adopted. I know a lot of families that have come out of Liberia in the last 2 years. And if you haven't, and there's many of us that are sitting in this position hoping to get out of here this year, maybe next. The fact of the matter is the U.S. Embassy was only doing one adoptive family every other week, only on Thursdays, when this suspension went into practice. Or went into effect, I guess. So that means 24 families a year can have an interview. And of the families that we know that have had an interview, half of them have been denied by the embassy anyway. So
before that change, it was multiple.
It was every week on Thursdays, and it could be more than one family in one day. But then one family every other week means, so if we're doing one family every other week, and we're starting I don't know, by the time they lift our suspension and all these families, let's say New Horizons, they don't have a suspension right now, so they can start calling families right now that are matched and say, hey, let's get your travel plans. Most family, it's going to take them about 30 days to get their travel plans. So if they request an appointment right now for like the first Thursday in August, that means if they're doing every other Thursday, only 10 families can go through. Because there's only 10 Thursdays between August 1st and December 31st. And then you got to throw in your holidays. So 10 families. And just Small World alone, we have 10 families in queue. New Horizons, I think, has 4, I heard. I would assume that AFA, since they're a bigger orphanage like we are, New Horizons is less than 20 kids at a time, I think, right now. We have 36. AFA has I think 30, 25 to 30. So let's say AFA has 5. So we have 10. And we have 3 unmatched families that are ready to be matched. So we'll easily, that I know of. I think there was 18 unmatched families when Jimbo was here. So one thing we've heard too, from our agency director, I emailed him today just to tell him about the text we got from the deputy minister, make sure he was aware, keep him in the loop. Whenever we get information from a government official in Liberia that's being kind to us and just trying to, help, but I try to make sure that we pass that along within a couple days to either our it's easy just to fire off an email, unless the information came from our orphanage director, and then I know that they talk a lot, so I don't need to add if he knows, if he tells me. But he said that the U.S. Embassy has made some statements, he doesn't know if it's written or verbal, that they did not recommend Small World be suspended. However, his complaint on that is they didn't protest it. They didn't protest the suspension. They could have written a formal protest to the MOG saying we don't agree with this. Many people have written that. Anyone that's in an official capacity that has protested the suspensions. And they certainly didn't do anything to encourage anyone. But the initial accusations came from the U.S. Embassy's office, and they were not only false accusations, they were hearsay and unfounded, but they created a chaotic political environment. They are literally damaging diplomatic relations with Liberia and the U.S., and they're costing millions of dollars by people like us. Collectively, they're just trying to do the right thing. We did not know we were signing up for this. But now that we're here, we're going to, I don't know. Kate gave me a hug before she left. She's like, you can do hard things. You can do hard things. And I don't want to do anything else hard. But we certainly can do hard things. So I don't want to be harsh about the families that have had. I'm glad you guys have your kids home. I'm glad you finally made it through this process. But if you have not filed those complaints with the Inspector General, you are 100% wrong. Because you have got to take responsibility as Americans if you are the one that is wronged. I think you should sue them too, but if you can't afford to sue them, at minimum you can do the free complaint. Because that's the right thing to do. So that we can get a spotlight on where improvement needs to happen. But, just like Dr. Seuss said, it's just not. Unless you do it, it's not going to get better.
Yep.
I am excited about my trail mix. Excited about my laundry. We appreciate you guys buying some Noonday. Tax-deductible donations are always 100% needed and welcomed and appreciated more than you know.
Yep.
I feel like you had something that was really funny that you keep saying you're going to say in our video that you haven't gotten to say.
About Ron White?
No, I don't think that's funny.
It's very funny.
It's not funny. You say that comment a lot, and when you say it, no one laughs. But you laugh, but it's not funny.
Yep.
I'm going to put arms on the monkey.
We're going to watch The Outer Range.
Yes, we moved on from dark to the outer range. I don't know that I fully understand dark. I think I do, but...
Yeah, I probably need a YouTube recap video.
I really can't think that Hayloft's enough for the...
Yes.
Roasted peanuts, semi-sweet chocolate, butter toffee peanuts, peanut butter flavored gems.
I can offer a...
God bless Jeff and Kate.
An economy update.
Oh, okay.
So here's what's going on in America.
We're all excited about that.
So the...
You think you should put it to music?
No. The...
you want me to hum?
Unemployment's over 4% now. It's been in the 3s for a while. The inflation is still.
Keep going, I'm humming.
I don't like it. It's annoying.
Like your joke.
3% inflation is predicted still through next year,
We're gonna buy a farm, right?
and still heading into a recession predicted. So good times.
When Jeremy talks about how poor the U.S. economy is and how we're not going to be able to afford bread, I'm like, we should buy a farm, and he's like, sure, because that's the answer.
We tried to farm on 0.2 acres.
Because farmers are succeeding more than anyone now.
Well, there's very few farmers because they own all the land. Very few farmers actually.
Who owns all the land?
All the corporations. It's big business now.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, that's all I got.
Are you excited to go home and get a job?
I am. I'm sick of being here. I'm so bored. It's good to have friends for a couple of days, but now I'm sad that they're leaving.
I know.
Oh, I'm happy for them.
Like, man, if they lived closer, we would totally hang out.
It's like, oh.
I think we would hang out.
Goodbye.
Maybe they don't.
Goodbye, friends.
I feel like they feel like they would hang out too. Right?
I think so, yeah.
Our kids were trying to figure out when we were going to see them again. And I'm like, they live pretty far.
They literally live in the tip.
And they were like, you can come visit us in Florida. We got extra space.
They live in the very northern part of
They live at the very top,
Michigan,
and we live at the
on
very bottom.
So
They can come see us if they want to. It was fun to see them, though.
yes.
All right. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.